I remember the first time I heard about it. $1 million worth of tequila. Gone. No gunfire, no break-in, no hostages, just gone. A semi-truck left Los Angeles one night and never arrived. The driver swore he delivered it. The company swore he didn't. And the GPS? It said both things at once. That paradox was what hooked me, because in the age of constant tracking, trucks don't just disappear. Planes, maybe. People, sure. But not 18-wheelers covered in cameras and sensors and satellite pings. So I started digging, and what I found wasn't a simple theft. It was something bigger, something invisible, a glimpse into a new kind of crime. A crime that doesn't need violence, only information. The story starts a week before the heist. A logistics company in California receives an offer from a freight broker, Everride Logistics. Their email looks perfect. Clean signature, corporate logo, tax ID, everything. The broker offers to transport a load of high-end tequila to Arizona for half the usual cost. Half. In logistics, margins are razor thin. A deal like that can make a quarter's profit. So the company checks the paperwork, license number, insurance, reviews. Everything matches the records. They sign. The pickup is scheduled for Tuesday night. No one notices that Everride Logistics isn't real. The entire company is a clone, built by scraping data from a legitimate broker. The website, template. The phone number, a VoIP relay that forwards calls to 3 different countries. Even the CEO's photo is AI generated, a face that doesn't exist. Behind that illusion is a small crew somewhere in Eastern Europe. Their specialty, hijacking reality. Mark Harrison had been a truck driver for 12 years. He wasn't rich, but he was steady. He loved the quiet hours on the road, when the world thinned out to engine noise and yellow lines. That Tuesday, Mark was assigned to haul the tequila. He checked in with dispatch, grabbed his coffee, and hit the road. A few hours later, he got a call. A man's voice, calm, professional. "Hey Mark, slight change tonight. The pickup point's moved, warehouse across town. Same load, same customer." Mark didn't question it. The caller ID matched his company's number. He received a follow-up text with a new address and gate code. He drove there, checked in, and the loading crew, wearing vests with the right logo, helped him load the pallets. He signed the manifest digitally, sealed the trailer, and left. Everything looked right, because every single part of the process had been copied. The truck left Los Angeles at 10:42 p.m. Destination, a distribution center outside Phoenix. Mark followed his GPS. The map glowed blue, the route looked perfect. But somewhere miles away, another screen was glowing too. A hacker had remote access to his dispatch app. They were running a GPS spoofing script, essentially sending a stronger fake signal to Mark's navigation unit than the real satellites above him. The effect? Mark's GPS thought he was on Highway 10 when he was actually turning onto a frontage road that led deep into an industrial district. He didn't notice. Why would he? The road signs matched the voice directions. Everything looked legitimate. At 2 a.m., he reached a warehouse compound surrounded by floodlights. A guard waved him in, clipboard in hand. "Dock 3, the man said. "We've been expecting you." Mark backed in. Forklifts rolled up. Workers scanned the crates, checked barcodes, signed the digital forms. By 3 a.m., the trailer was empty. Mark signed the last document on his tablet. The guard smiled. Delivery confirmation will come through by morning. Mark thanked them, closed the doors, and drove off. He slept in his cab at a rest stop just past the county line, completely unaware that the tequila was already disappearing into unmarked trucks headed toward the border. 9:07 a.m. Mark's dispatcher calls. "Where are you? Just finished the drop last night. The drop was scheduled for today. Mark, what are you talking about?" Confusion, then panic. The customer reports no delivery. Mark swears he unloaded the cargo. He sends screenshots of his GPS route. It looks perfect. Except, when investigators pull the truck's actual satellite log, it shows a completely different path. The GPS on his dash had been lying. At 9:45, the company contacts the police. By the time officers reach the warehouse location, it's empty. Lease expired. Security cameras removed. Forklifts gone. Just tire marks on the concrete and an unplugged router humming in the corner. $1 million in liquor evaporated into the digital ether. When I first read the police report, I didn't get it. How do you hack a truck? So I called a friend, Lena, a cybersecurity analyst who works on transportation systems. She told me that modern logistics is basically one giant digital handshake. A shipper trusts a broker trusts a carrier trusts a driver, and everyone trusts the data. But if you can impersonate one piece of that chain, you own the entire route. The hackers did 3 key things. Identity cloning. They scraped business registries and rebuilt a fake company using real details. That got them legitimacy. Credential phishing. They sent fake login pages to dispatchers and drivers, stealing passwords to actual freight platforms. Signal spoofing. They used portable transmitters to override the truck's GPS input, feeding it false coordinates. Together, those steps let them control where Mark thought he was and where the cargo actually went. Lena said, "It's like changing the signs on a highway while someone's driving. The asphalt's real. The destination isn't." Investigators traced the emails back to hosting servers in Germany. From there to a proxy chain through Singapore and Kyiv. The fake website had been built 2 weeks earlier with AI written copy. Every paragraph generated by a text model. Every portrait a deep fake stock photo. The hackers even paid for Google ads so their fake company appeared above the real one in search results. When authorities shut it down, it resurfaced under a new name within 24 hours. I tracked one of the wallet addresses linked to the payment. It bounced through 6 crypto mixes, then merged into a cluster known for laundering ransomware profits. The digital fingerprints were immaculate, cleaner than most banks' ledgers. This wasn't chaos, it was choreography. I met Mark 3 months later at a diner off Interstate 5. He looked tired, in that way only long-haul drivers do. Like someone who's been awake for 10 years straight. He told me he'd lost his job. The insurance company refused to cover the loss because the policy didn't include cyber incidents. His company called it negligence. "I did everything right," he said. "I followed the GPS. I signed the papers. I did my job." He kept repeating that. "I did my job." And that's what makes this story so haunting. He did. He wasn't careless. He wasn't complicit. He was simply too human in a system that rewards automation. Homeland Security's Cargo Crime Unit opened a case. They called it Operation Mirage. An agent I spoke with, he wouldn't go on record, said these digital hijackings were exploding across North America. Last year we saw maybe 50, he told me. This year, over 300. Same playbook. Fake brokers, cloned documents, rerouted trucks. He slid me a photo of a whiteboard in their office. On it were scribbled words: trust equals vulnerability. They had a suspect group, an outfit known online as Phantom Line. They weren't large, just 8 to 10 people, but they were disciplined. They treated crime like a startup: remote collaboration, cloud servers, quarterly goals. I asked if they'd ever caught them. He smiled without humor. You can't arrest an IP address. As I dug deeper, a pattern emerged. The stolen cargo didn't just vanish, it was resold through grey markets. The tequila re-entered legitimate supply chains through distributors in Mexico and the US. Fake customs papers, real barcodes. By the time authorities traced it, it was sitting on store shelves. Somewhere out there, people were drinking stolen tequila and had no idea. It's hard to explain how surreal that feels, to realize that crime can now hide inside the system, not outside it. Like a parasite, mimicking its host. I kept thinking about trust. Every link in the chain depended on it. Mark trusted his GPS. The company trusted the broker. The customer trusted the paperwork. And trust, in a digital world, is just data. It can be copied, spoofed, rerouted, like any file. I asked a behavioral economist why people still fall for this stuff, even experts. She said, because systems teach us that consistency equals truth. If every detail matches what we expect, our brain stops questioning. It's not stupidity, it's efficiency. We outsource skepticism to machines. And machines don't have instincts. The ghost truck wasn't unique. Within months, similar thefts hit Illinois, Texas, and Ontario. Same method, different commodities: electronics, beef, copper wire. Authorities realized they weren't facing isolated crimes. They were witnessing a shift, a migration of traditional theft into cyberspace. Cargo theft used to mean crowbars and ski masks. Now it means laptops and Wi-Fi. The cost? Over $800 million a year in North America alone. And that's just what's reported. When I tell people that, they blink. Because this isn't what we imagine when we think of hacking. We think of passwords, not pallets. But the boundary between digital and physical crime is gone. Data is the new crowbar. Back at that diner, I asked Mark if he still drives. He nodded. Local routes only. No dispatch apps, no digital signatures. Paper logs, printed maps. I trust my eyes now, he said, not the screen. He told me he sometimes dreams about that night. The GPS voice calmly telling him, turn left in 300 meters, while somewhere, miles away, a hacker's finger hovered over the enter key. He wakes up sweating, unsure which version of the road is real. Stories like this sound niche, but they reveal something bigger about us. We've built a world that depends on invisible systems. GPS, cloud platforms, blockchain, automation. They run everything from your Uber ride to global shipping. And because they're invisible, we treat them like magic. We assume they're neutral, reliable, honest. But technology is never neutral. It reflects whoever controls it. The ghost truck wasn't stolen by force. It was persuaded away. That's what makes it terrifying. Because persuasion, at scale, is harder to defend against than violence. It's not about hacking computers. It's about hacking people. Cybersecurity analysts predict that within 5 years, most supply chain thefts will involve some digital component. AI-generated brokers, deepfake driver licenses, spoofed tracking dashboards. I asked Lena what keeps her up at night. She said, "We're automating faster than we're securing. Every efficiency upgrade opens another door." She paused. People think AI will steal jobs. They don't realize it's already stealing trucks. I keep going back to that phrase on the agent's whiteboard. Trust equals vulnerability. It feels cynical, but maybe it's just realistic. Because the more I looked into it, the clearer it became that trust isn't free. It's a risk we choose to take. Mark took it that night. His company took it. We all do. Every time we click, "I agree." We don't read the fine print. We assume the blue dot on the screen is truth. We assume our data won't betray us. But sometimes it does. And when it does, it doesn't make a sound. 6 months later, another report crossed my feed. A shipment of pharmaceuticals vanished in Ohio. Same playbook, different name on the fake documents. Phantom line was back, or maybe it never left. The truck's driver? He swears he followed the GPS. The system says otherwise. And I can't stop wondering if somewhere, on some monitor, that same hacker is smiling, watching another blue dot slide quietly off the map. When I started this story, I thought it was about tequila, but it's really about something deeper, the end of certainty. We used to believe that digital meant safe, that data meant proof. But proof can be forged, and safety can be simulated. The ghost truck isn't just a crime story, it's a warning. A glimpse of a world where you can lose something real in a place that doesn't exist. And maybe that's what scares me most. Because the more connected we become, the more ghosts we create. Ghost accounts, ghost companies, ghost trucks. And each one reminds us that trust, in the digital age, is both our greatest invention and our most dangerous illusion.